Top of the morning, top of the evening, top of the night, whatever time zone you are on, we are live. Hello, everybody. Once you get in here, I want to go right into this today. I said, can we talk? Can we really talk? Welcome to the Lions Den today. Okay. Play a little music. And we're gonna get down to business. I don't know if, well, I saw when it came across my feed last night that another suspect had been arrested pertaining to Joshua Brown's murder. And it was an uncle nephew, Michael Mitchell and Jaquarius Mitchell are the two alleged suspects that the Dallas Police Department has so far. But before we even venture down that path, I just wanted to put that out there. And we're gonna get straight down to some business. Let's get to business. Today, I will be doing a moment of silence for Joshua Brown. And then we gonna talk. Can we really talk? Can we really talk?
Broken heart again, another lesson learned. Better know your friends or else you will get burned. Gotta count on me, 'cause I can guarantee that I'll be fine. No more pain, no more pain, no more pain, no more pain, no more drama in my life. No one's gonna make me hurt again. Why'd I play the fool, go through ups and downs, knowing all the time you wouldn't be around? But maybe I like the stress, 'cause I was young and restless, but that was long ago. I don't wanna cry no more. No more pain, no more pain, no more shame messing with my mind. No more drama in my life. I don't ever wanna hurt again. Wanna speak my mind, wanna speak my mind.
Hey, Flower. Bloom, how are you?
When you let go of all the drama in your life, now you're free from all the pain, free from all the shame.
To all the families out there that's going through wait for justice, no more pain. Hopefully you get to a place of no more pain, no more drama, no more sleepless nights, no more restless nights.
It's up to us to choose whether we win or lose, and I choose to win. No more pain, no more pain, tired of hurting, tired of you playing games with my mind. No more drama in my life. No more, no more, no more, no more, no more.
Controlling this narrative. To all the families out there going through, I know when they hear the fake stories, they just want to get to a place to where it is no more drama and get control of the narrative. But before we, like I said, I want to get straight down to business. Before we go, I have to I would be remiss if I did not congratulate Montgomery, Alabama. You elected your first African-American mayor. Congratulations to you. Kudos, congratulations. Okay. Congratulations to him. With that being said, before I roll this, make sure you hold elected officials' feet to the fire. Remember that the mayor is not governing the city by himself. You also have council who decide on your laws and have to vote too. So, but congratulations. Congratulations to you.
We're excited. I mean, we're ecstatic about the turnout. We're excited about the business, people for the city of Montgomery. We're excited about the future. We're excited about our and what we can achieve together. It's certainly significant given the history of Montgomery, given all that happened here. Montgomery has been a pilot for so many world-changing events, the bus boycott, so many other things that have happened here. And so being a part of that history is very...
African-American mayor. Congratulations to you all. We know what the history is. Civil rights history, slavery history. Don't they come up in there like that? I want to hear from them. So congratulations to you. Let's get this other business out the way really quick. I cannot say this enough. As a people, we need to make sure that we are registered to vote and as we vote, not just because there are cases that will come up that impact people and people rich in melatonin over here in the United States of America. Also because you need to know, I really need people to understand that when a forensics investigation takes place, a series of tools are used, hardware and software tools. These tools are certified. And some may not be certified, but they're credible. But usually in the United States, we reject non-certified tools when it comes to retrieving electronic evidence, storing, maintaining it, and submitting it to the court of law in order for it to be admissible into the court of law. So understand that when the Russians hacked into those databases, you are going through a series of networks. You're going through a big network. And a network is an interconnection of several networks. The backbone is the local area network, a metropolis area network, a wide area network. Here in the state of Michigan, we have local area networks, right? When we start going beyond our state lines and have a hop or a route or a connection that goes through Illinois, then that's when we start getting into the wide area networks, even that extend throughout other regions of the world. Okay, so understand that. They went through a host of networks, they went through databases, went in there to retrieve this information, okay? African-American people, know this. Fictitious stories from Russians in 2016 was shared close to 1 million times, targeting African-American people. And I'm also aware that I used to have a Russian subscribe to me. I don't know if he still is, but I know where he lived at too, in the state of Illinois. I'm aware of that. No, and when he came in the chat, like I told him, no disrespect to you, but I'm feeling a type of way about what people from your nation did. But he's not over there. He's in the United States of America. Okay. I don't know if he's still subbed. I didn't go through and see. But I said what I said, you know, not that I disallowed him in the chat section. But with that being said, I do know a little bit about them being raised up as spies. But let me get back on point. We need to make sure that we are not letting anyone con us, trick us, bamboozle us, fleece us, brainwash us when it comes to the voting process here in the United States of America. Okay? Indeed, we were the target. And mission was accomplished. They accomplished their mission because a lot of African American people didn't vote in 2016. Mission accomplished. We were the Russian target, mission accomplished. And I have to remind people that over in the nation of Russia, over in the country of Russia, there is no hacking taking place without their government knowing. Okay? Period. Period. All right? They don't have the liberties we have here. When nations like that start hacking and they're under some type of censorship, their government is aware of what they're doing. Okay? So it's very much intentional. Mission accomplished. 2016, our voting numbers fell back down. And that goes back into what Attorney Vonda said. We cannot just vote when we see a person out there we like. We have to be engaged in the process all the time. But the Russians, they hit their target in 2016. It was mission accomplished. And here it is, okay? So don't let anybody twist you up on the facts. Let's just go straight to the facts, okay? And this is the article that I have up. Bipartisan Senate report undercuts number 45 account of 2016 meddling. Okay, his attempts to deflect. No, Russia wasn't, no, it was no hack. Yes, it was. He didn't go to school for forensics. This is not his field. A real investigation takes place electronically. We have to use real tools. And we go through a network and we're tracking the digital fingerprints throughout the network. So this really happened. This is not fake news. This is reality. All right, so here we go. Like I said, I'm gonna discuss these subjects first, issues first, and then we'll move on to Joshua Brown. But let me go here, okay? All right, let me stroll down a little. All right, the report, the second volume of the committee investigative findings, documents how Russian operatives deployed a variety of social media platforms to spread divisive, or divisive, however you want to announce it, messages among the American electorate. Okay? And what represents the most complete examination to date of that campaign. Senate investigators find that Russian operatives worked to boost Trump by focusing on racial and other controversial issues in US politics, and then fanning the flames on both sides of the country affected political discourse, okay? But let me get to specifically. And what they waged was an information warfare campaign against African Americans and on the 2016 election. I need people to understand this. All right. Number 45, and I'm jumping down, has directed Attorney General Bill Barr to travel abroad in an effort to cast doubt on the FBI's investigation. Excuse me, the FBI has a forensics team. Okay. And you're not just in there playing around when it comes to computer forensics, when it comes to electronic investigations, when it comes to digital discovery. You have to be very careful because it's easy to alter the state of electronic information. You have to have the right room temperature. You have to have the right, everything has to be right. You can't have on any jury that would affect the information. You can't have on any boots or anything. Data, electronic data is extremely fragile, okay? So nobody's sitting in there playing a game when it's time to do an investigation like this. And it's crossing judicial lines. Not only that, it's crossing beyond our borders. It extends beyond our borders because you have to then factor in the states in your nation, and then it goes abroad to other countries. What they're doing in their networks. What's going on across the network. Okay. So I just want to set that up. Hey, Joy, how you doing? All right. So this is the report. All right. And quite naturally, we know he's in an impeachment inquiry. Good. He needs to be. All right. He needs to be. All right. I'm going to need him to stop lying. But this is where I want to start right here. Among the targets of the campaign, Black Americans received special attention. That means we were the target. Mission accomplished. More than 66% of the IRA's Facebook advertisement contained terms related to race of those ads, mostly targeted Black metropolitan populations. One of the IRA's most popular Facebook pages, dubbed Blacktivists, resulted in 11.2 million engagements. Half of the participants, okay, I think I'm jumping ahead. Let me pull this up. Half of the IRA's most popular Instagram accounts targeted Black Americans. And its Twitter trolls gave particular focus to issues with racial overtones, such as the debate over the decision by the NFL players to kneel during the playing of the national anthem to protest police killings for people of color. So you got the Russians, yeah, sitting back, posing, yeah, as African Americans, talking back to you on these social media sites. And you think it's somebody Black, but it's not. It's somebody Russian, okay? You think you have African-American people who set up and was creating a lot of these articles, and it wasn't. It was some Russians, okay? Yeah, yeah, yeah. No single group of Americans was targeted by IRA information operatives more than African Americans. That's what the report concluded. And this report is based off of electronic evidence, electronic discovery. And it's saying it caught our United States government flat-footed, caught the federal government flat-footed. then the government came under criticism. The FBI is especially criticized for outsourcing the monitoring of foreign influence operations to a contractor, which the report argues suggests the FBI either lacked resources or viewed work in this vein as not warranting more institutionalized consideration. To me, I do not understand why the federal government outsource other people's information and privacy. Why are you, certain things over here in the United States of America should not be outsourced when it pertains to the citizens of the United States of America. That's just common, that's just good sense to me, because common sense is not so common. That's just good sense. Tuesday report cautions that Russian digital meddling is unlikely to go away. You know why? Because now they know how, I mean, they hacked through and got through the system, okay? And unless the coding language completely change, hackers gonna continue to do what they do. It is what it is. If you are connected to the internet, if you have any device connected to the internet, it's hackable, period. Period, end of story. End of story, it's hackable. So some things should not be. Some information should not be. Some information needs to be kept in a private database that's offline, okay? Period. Okay. After Election Day, IRA activity spiked, with Instagram increasing 238%, Facebook use jumping 59%, Twitter posts increasing 52%, YouTube citations going up to 84%, according to the data. All right. And that activity is more likely only grew more sophisticated. All right. Russian operatives does not use all of the features of Facebook sophisticated ad targeting platform, and that in the future they may grow more savvy in ways they target US voters. Okay, but like I said, the mission was to target African American. The target was African American voters. Mission was accomplished. So African Americans could not get out there and vote. They stirred the pot on that. They came up with a bunch of articles. They jumped on social media sites and made it seem like they were Black people and began to communicate with you, and you thought it was somebody Black. That's why a lot of times when I am streaming like this and I send out an invite, I need to hear a person's voice. I need to hear a person's voice. I need you to come on here. I need you to come on here. I need to hear your voice. I need to hear your voice. If I'm interacting with you, I like to hear voices. I like to see faces a lot of times. But you know, Black people, African American people, we were the target. So we need not be nonchalant and cavalier when it comes to voting, okay? Yeah. Yeah, they came up with a bunch of fake stories. Yeah, Russians from another country in chat sessions on social media site communicating with you like they're African American, posing as Black people so you wouldn't go vote, coming up with all type of stuff, creating all kind of issues, coming up with what's deemed as quote unquote Black consciousness, Black awareness, stirring the pot. Don't let it happen again. African American people, don't let this happen again. All right. So that's what I have to say about that. Okay, let's get to this. If I can set this up real good tonight. And believe me, I'm going somewhere with this now that we've gotten that out of the way. I'm going to walk this up into Joseph Brown. If I can set this up tonight, will you allow me to set this up tonight? Can we talk? Can we really talk? But I'm gonna set this up tonight regardless. I am glad that social media, not only social media, but African American people are rejecting the narrative pertaining to Joseph Brown murder. The narrative is being rejected. The narrative that there was no police involvement in his death is being rejected by us. It's being rejected. You may see some that's like, whoa. But overall, it's being rejected, which is good. You know why that's good? Because media has always portrayed African American people in a negative light. Always. Always. Why is that? So, let me hit the thumbs up for myself. So, I'm glad that that narrative is being rejected, because it's always a little negative connotation associated in an article somewhere. And yesterday, if you were streaming, you saw it. You see the articles. Joshua Brown, drug deal gone bad. It was a drug deal gone bad. Okay, so here you have this brother associated as being a drug dealer. It was a drug deal gone bad. We didn't see any evidence. And that's why I say I will go where the evidence lead me. And right now I've seen none. Okay. Period. It was a drug deal gone bad. That's negative. When it comes to African American people, we saw it. They tried to do it with Bantham Jean. Oh, it was because of drugs. He had a bunch of drugs in his system. The autopsy revealed he didn't have all them drugs that the Dallas Police Department said he had in his system. Okay, rejecting the narrative, a fictitious narrative, or the spin on a narrative. For this one, I am glad to see that it's a great rejection of that narrative, rejecting the narrative. We also saw it for people who know about the Kenneka Jenkins case. We saw it there immediately. It was African-American girl, drugs in her system. So she just walked herself into a hotel freezer and died. Okay, and then nobody seen that with a whole bunch of cameras and remote access, but nobody know nothing. All right. I wish we would have pushed back a little harder and rejected that narrative. And there's some out here of us who are really pushing back and reject that narrative, never ran with that narrative because we knew it was spin on it. But overwhelmingly, a lot of people. But for this one right here, it's a rejection of this narrative. It's a rejection of this narrative right here. And most of us still believe that the police is involved. Period. So if you'll allow me to set this up, it's not a conspiracy theory for me when it comes to us believing that the police has some involvement, because history has proven throughout the years that it's always after the fact that we find out the police were involved when it's too late. Okay. 30 to 50 years later. But this narrative that the police were not involved in this is being rejected. And I'm happy that many of us are still out there calling for independent investigation that does not include the Dallas Police Department, because the camaraderie and the commonality amongst themselves is their police officer. They're all police officers. So that's their commonality. That's the thing that they have in common. They're in the union. That's another thing that they have in common. So they're gonna hold it down for their own. All right. We're aware that our eyes are wide open. They're gonna hold it down for their own. They're gonna protect their own. They're going to look out for their own. All right. And in this degree, Amber Geyer is theirs. That's one of their own. She was a blue suit. So they're gonna do what they need to do to make her look good at all costs. All right. So I'm glad out here, African-American people, we're still rejecting this narrative that they're trying to spin. But it's not a conspiracy. We're not just sitting down coming up with conspiracy. History has shown it can be proven that police officers set African-American males up and people, period, up over here in the United States of America, but especially Black people when it comes to drugs. That's a historical fact. So when people say, it's all these conspiracies out here, it's not without warrant. It's not without reason. It's not without a cause. History has proven this. It's been historically proven that this happens. And justice is never achieved because there's always a muddying of the waters from blue suits, police officers, police departments. Okay. Hey, Half Pint. All right, I'm just coming back on. All right, so let me pull this up so we can get to here. I want to start with this one right here. Facts and stacks. Facts and stacks over foolishness and lies. We're going to let the statistics and the facts prove themselves out. All right, no, let me look here because I was, okay. Here's the study with the findings, with the data, okay? Yeah. And this is a finding. This was a study on traffic stop and who gets stops the most over here in the United States of America. All right. Right here, the aqua, or close to the aqua / Caribbean blue, which actually is a shade, maybe a few shades lighter or darker. That represents African-American people. Everywhere you see the green, the line, green, with a hint of demure added to it, that represents Hispanic, okay? Everywhere you see the blue, everywhere you see the blue, everywhere where you see blue, these are African American people stopped by police officers. Okay, not for speeding, not for doing anything wrong, but simply being profiled and stopped by police officers. I gotta let the facts speak tonight. Facts and stats. And why we reject the narrative that the police somehow did not have any involvement with Joshua Brown being dead to this date. It's a reason why. No one just set up at home and came up with this stuff in their mind. No, we're going off what history has shown us, what can be historically proven. Examining the rate of the stops, driver behavior, how much time they spent on the road, the racial composition, local population, dealing with highway stops, the gender and the age. And this is monthly stops. Monthly stops. African-American people, we all the way up here at 40%. The blue is us. This is us. Blue, that represents us. Yeah. After the stop. Keep in mind, the blue, that's us. The green, that's Hispanic. Look at all this green showing up now. Look at all this green showing up now. Look at all this green and blue. Look at all the green and blue. Okay. Comparison and contrasted. 9 searches per stop in Illinois. When 9 searches per every 100 stop in Illinois. European American people get stopped 3 searches. 3 searches. That's the state of Illinois. Still in Illinois. Ohio. Hispanic to white. 8 Hispanic people. 4 white per every 100 stop. Arizona. 7 to 4. Hispanics at the top. Ohio. 7 to 5. Franklin County in Ohio, 7 to 5. South Carolina, 5 to 4. Okay, that's a little bit more balanced, still higher. South Carolina, this 6 to 8 in Allendale, I'm sure is probably predominantly white population there. Not trying to be funny, European American population there. Texas, I don't want to show the Hispanic too. I just want to show this. Berkeley, also predominantly white, 3 to 4. Interesting. Just interesting. But Hispanic and Black and African American people overall, when we get pulled over by the cops, we gonna get, it's a search without a search warrant. Jackson County, Michigan. Black to white, arrest. Michigan, my state. I already know what it is. 6 people arrested, and you in Jackson County too? Yeah, yes, yes. It's prison in Jackson, yes. Look at this. Miami-Dade. 8-3. Putin, Florida. 9-2. But that's Hispanic to white. But this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Where there's high concentration of African American people, or where there's an even concentration, could be balanced. It doesn't make a difference. We're being stopped more. Stopped more, searched more, arrested more. This is ridiculous. Testing for discrimination in search decisions. This is all us, right here on this graph. In Hispanic, this is all us in Hispanic, 60+%. You see the numbers. You see the data. And you wonder why people are rejecting the narrative from the Dallas Police Department. Oh, I have video pulled up. And I was trying to get to all of my videos pulled up where you see police officer planting drugs on somebody in a vehicle, where you see police officer planting drugs at somebody's house, setting them up on purpose. And we wonder why this narrative is being rejected. He was the key witness, the main witness. Didn't show up dead no other time. Then he show up dead. And they say over a drug deal gone bad. Really, it's quite interesting that the defendant didn't cross-examine that and go at that on the stand. It's interesting that they didn't go after that on the stand when it came to his character. It's interesting that all of this is after the fact. And for people wondering if I saw the videos, yes, I see people, yesterday it started, I seen people posting old videos of Joshua Brown. One where he was in his house smoking weed, rolling up his weed, smoking. And I said, and then this guy put it up on there, this was just his last live on Friday night. No, that was an old video. That was an older video, because I remember seeing that. That wasn't even new. And that was posted by an African-American person. I'm gonna need them to stop. Somebody else posting videos. See, he was selling drugs illegally in Texas. He wasn't even in Texas then. He was in California. I'm gonna need them to stop. But overall, like I said, the most of us, we're rejecting the narrative, and this is why. Colorado. I don't know why we would be up in Colorado. North Carolina. 50 hits per 100 searches on Black driver. White is 38. Rutherford County, North Carolina. Anderson, Texas, 46 to 36 per 100. This is per 100. North Carolina, 38 to 24. South Carolina, 32 to 20. Texas. That's Hispanic. I don't want to do Hispanic. I'm not trying to be funny. Can we talk? Can we really talk? I'm talking about African American tonight. But for them, it's high. It's high. It's high. Oh, Wilson. This is interesting. This must be a white area. Let's draw this down so we can see. Wow, Texas. Colorado, wow. Douglas County, wow. Just wow. Right. It's a fact. These are the facts. And I'll say it again, and we wonder why we reject this narrative. Threshold. To address shortcomings of the outcome test, we built a Becker's idea to develop a more robust statistical measure of discrimination, the threshold test. Okay, threshold information on both search rates and hit rates, and lets us directly infer the standard of evidence officers require before carrying out a search. In the example above, the threshold test tells us that the same 10% standard is applied to all drivers, indicating no bias. Okay, we apply the threshold test to our traffic stop data, and we find the police require less suspension in the search of Black people and Hispanic people. That means when they pull you over, African American person or Hispanic person, okay, they don't even need a reason in their mind. They're just going to start searching. They're just going to go into a harassment mode. And it is a double standard. This double standard is evidence of discrimination. These are the facts. These are the facts. Yeah. These are the facts. Now they pulling you over, searching you for no reason. And people wonder why. Nobody's trusting the police like that, especially African American. You wonder why we're rejecting this narrative that these three suspects just miraculously appeared out of nowhere and they just decided to have a drug encounter. We see no communication between, we have yet to see the evidence of communication between Jaquavius Mitchell and Joshua Brown. We have yet to see any electronic evidence, any digital evidence. We have yet to see that. We do not see it yet. But they want us to believe the story that somehow all of this just happened miraculously out of nowhere. That they just appeared. Okay. This is at the legalization of marijuana in Colorado and Washington. All right. Oh, wow. I thought I had this turned down and it's still. In Washington and Colorado, far fewer people, both whites and minorities, are searched overall. However, they're saying in Colorado and in Washington, fewer. And I don't like the word minority. Nobody's a whatever. We're all human. The racial disparities still remain, even though there are less people getting pulled over in Colorado and Washington than any other states, apparently in the USA. Black people still rank high. Hispanic people still rank high. European American stops are at the bottom. They rank low. Once again, the blue represents us. This is us right here. This is us. The aqua blue, that's us. The green, that's Hispanic. We at the top. The orange line, that's European American, white American, okay? They're at the bottom. We are at the top. Searches per 100 stop. Searches per every 100 stop. Based off of 100 people being stopped. Who's getting searched the most, who's getting ticketed the most, and who's being arrested the most? African American people. That's us. Arizona. Hispanic is higher. Well, they have more Hispanics that live there than us. California. We already know that's going to be African American, which is interesting. They still have more other ethnic groups that live in California than us, but we the most getting. Florida, you knew it was going to be high in Florida. Massachusetts, that some of us live there, however, it's not it's not a high number. It's not a high percentage of us that stay there. It's the Hispanics that's being stopped the most, but we coming in second. We still up there high. Montana. We up there high. We are still coming in high. Ranging to 2016. And I'm sure they have a more recent one. But we high. We know we high. We already know we up there high. From 2011 to 2016. These were the findings. We're in 2019 now. We still up there high. We know we high. In Vermont, Hispanic and Black. Texas, high. In Texas, is high. African Americans. Wisconsin, African Americans and Hispanics. But in Vermont, wow. And we wonder why we reject the narrative that Joseph Brown's death had nothing to do with the police, the Dallas Police Department. Because African Americans have always been the target of something, especially police brutality. That goes all the way back, ranging from slavery to the civil rights era to all of the eras. It's not a conspiracy. It's historical facts. It's a historical fact that African American people have always been targeted, set up, lost their lives, part of their lives in prison for things that they never did, never done. It's a historical fact that narrative pertaining to African American people over here in the United States of America has always been negative. But I am glad we are controlling the narrative now due to social media. We're controlling the narrative. And when they did the census this morning and was getting a feel for it, overwhelming rejection of this narrative that we should just throw our hands up and say rah, say rah, say rah, whatever will be, will be. We want no accountability. No, we do not want the police department to investigate. We want an independent investigation that still stands. No, we do not trust you. Dallas Police Department, period. It's not a conspiracy. Your officers lied. Your officers tampered with evidence. That's not a conspiracy. That's a fact. Your officers like to set people up. That's not a conspiracy. That's a fact. And I'm not just saying it only happens in Texas. We know it happens nationwide. That's a fact. So we are rejecting this narrative that it was a drug deal gone bad. We're rejecting that. Why? Because history. Yeah. You have a history of wrongdoing. You have a history of being biased. You have a history of prejudice. You have a history of people not being treated equal. You have a history of lying. So yeah, we're rejecting the narrative. We're rejecting the narrative. But it's not without warrant. We're not just sitting home making up stuff out of the top of our heads. We're going based off history. Facts and stats have got to speak over the foolishness of a lot of these voices out here. Let me get to the next, because I wanted to pull up the law from Texas. All right. Go here. And when I'm looking off to the side, I'm looking at my documents over here. All right. No, I don't want to start a chat with you. All right. Texas marijuana laws. Okay. All right. Nope. Don't want to talk to you. Marijuana possession and cultivation laws and potential penalties in Texas. Here it is. Broken down, 2 ounces or less, 180 days in jail, fine up to $2,000. Let me stroll back up. Let me get here. Marijuana possession, sale, and manufacture are regulated by both state and federal law. In Texas, marijuana is classified as a Schedule substance, as a Schedule I substance, excuse me, which means it has a high potential for abuse and no generally recognized medical value. So in Texas, they're saying marijuana has no medical value. Here in our state, it has medical value and it's legal. You can use marijuana for medicinal purposes here, in some cities here, and some recreation here, and it's grown here. They have full-fledged cannabis facilities. Texas, no medical value in that state. So it's not legal there. However, in Texas, they do allow for a low level of THC cannabis oils prescribed for certain epileptic conditions. So, THC, okay, the oils. And it's interesting because if you listen to the police chief yesterday, And he said they had reason based upon what, quote unquote, allegedly Joseph Brown neighbors said, that led them to go obtain a warrant and search his premises. And when they obtained the warrant and they searched Joseph Brown premises, what they found was 12 pounds of weed and 148 THC cartridges with $4,000. And I said, whoop-de freaking do. Probably because, like I said, in my state, and with the $4,000, people were, I've seen so many people who, can we talk? Can we really talk? Maybe some of you all didn't grow up knowing nobody who's really was in the drug game back in the 80s and 90s. Had no cousins or no friends. However, I knew some. $4,000 is not no cash when you out there running drugs. That's not a large amount of cash. That's not a large amount of cash. No. That's not like you just out there making big bank. No. When you running drugs, $4,000, that's no money. That's no money. Kayla, who is that out there blowing? Because I'm in a live and I'm not trying to be funny, but I don't want to hear all that noise that I heard the other day. Please and thank you. So please inform whomever is entering the house upon arrival that I'm doing a live, that upon entry of the house that I'm in a live. So thank you. Yeah, and it can pick up your voice. Like on the last one, y'all was in the last live I did, everybody's voice was in there. Okay, back to what I was saying. $4,000, that ain't no cash for running drugs. That's no money. Back in the day, they was doubling up, giving $4,000 to people to go double that up, bring them back $8,000 in a day. That's no drug. That's not no drug. Can we talk? Can we really talk? When my grandmother passed away, she had $3,000 in the arm sleeve of one of the coats that she had in all of her purses. It was cash. So that, can we talk? Can we really talk? People were, oh, $4,000. Gone with that. That's why we rejected the narrative. We rejected the narrative. Some Black people don't even, some older Black people still to this day keep all their money hidden away somewhere in their house. So don't, no. Hey, SC, how you doing? Okay, so Texas allows for low levels of THC, okay, oils that deals with cannabis for certain epileptic conditions, all right? Then they have the penalties and the fines broken up. It is illegal to sell marijuana or possess marijuana with the intent to do so in Texas. Penalties vary according to the amount sold or possessed with intent to sell, with penalties for sales to minors within drug-free zones, such as schools, playground, or youth centers. But when we came on here towards the beginning, and somebody that stopped in the other day already said it was not legal there. I'm in Michigan, it's legal here. So as long as you're purchasing from a licensed facility, but whatever with that. People have been growing weed in the state of Michigan forever. So, with that being said, we know what the laws are, but Joshua's deceased and we are still rejecting the narrative. I just wanted to go there and show, you know, okay, not legal, whatever. But we have no proof that anything that has been said is true. We've seen no evidence. We've seen no forensics from DNA analysis of the blood that was shed. We've seen nothing. So we're rejecting the narrative. We will control this narrative. It's a flat rejection. It's a resounding no. Okay. I said, if I may paint the picture and make the case about why we're rejecting the narrative. Video appears to show NYD police, this is New York, cops planting drugs in a Black teen's car. Now, it wouldn't appear in the show, it showed that. This is last year, November of last year. This is why we are rejecting the narrative. Right here. This is why we are rejecting the narrative. We know blue suits can be some of the most unethical, non-integrity having, racist people in the world who display some of the most egregious actions against people, period. And especially African Americans in this nation. So we're rejecting the narrative. All right, this was in the back seat on the floor. He put it in the back seat on the floor. It was magical. The marijuana magically appeared in the back seat of the car containing 4 Black boys. Just magically showed up. Where's the video footage from the police body cam in Texas when they allegedly went into Joshua Brown's house and retrieved those products or items, such as the $4,000, such as the weed, such as the THC oils? Where's the video footage? Where? From the body cam, a body cam that's not turned off, by the way. Where's the video footage for that at? I want to see that. I would like to see that. Okay, untampered with. All right. This is why we reject the narrative. Right here in the article, it goes on to say, yes, there's a such thing as white magic. Okay. Just miraculously appear right from the police officer's hand into your vehicle, your house, or by your properties. Okay. Drugs. And you wonder why we're rejecting the narrative. This is why. We've seen this over and over again. It has been historically proven that police, blue suits, will set a brother up. They will set a sister up. We're rejecting the narrative that Joshua Brown It was just a drug deal gone bad. He just a drug dealer. No, we rejected the narrative. And this is why. This is why. In addition to police officers being liars within the Dallas Police Department, Amber Geyer was not only a murderer, she was a liar, okay? Right along with her lying, cheating boyfriend. Liars. Not only lying, tampering with evidence. And the Dallas Police Department expect for us to believe that a key witness just gonna mysteriously, all of a sudden, show up dead. And then out of nowhere, I guess with some magic, you have 3 suspects that just miraculously came from Louisiana to Texas to either buy or sell some drugs. Okay. Also, as Black people, we know there's certain informants. Okay. We know the police will also go in, cut a deal with somebody who willing to sell another brother, sister out so they can get their butts out, just simply so they can be out on the streets telling and snitching on everybody, running information back to the police. We understand that too. That's another reason we rejected the narrative. Some people may be a little green in this area, but most of us, especially if you're around my age, we're not green at all pertaining to these issues. No greenness here. No naivety here. We're not naive pertaining to this. Some may be. I'm not. I grew up in the state of Michigan. And you can read through it. The minute Erickson decides to search the back seat of the car again, for some reason at this moment, Erickson's body cam spontaneously stops recording. So here he is searching the back seat of the car, searching the back seat. Did they not tell Amber Geyer, there she is, her body cam? What is she being directed to do or doing on her own will? Turning it off. What is this officer doing? Body cam mysteriously just stops working. No, he turned it off. And then, whoop, magically, some weed appeared. Whoop. Yeah, South Carolina, they'll, for using the F word, they'll start blocking your comments for that. I'm sorry that happened to you. This is the officer. This is the weed magically appearing. And this is one of the African-American gentlemen who was driving. Let's see if they'll play this. I'll see if it'll play through. Sometimes it don't always play through.
You hop out. You hop out. Yo, E, stay in there, all right?
A traffic stop in New York City leads to a young black man being arrested for possession of marijuana.
All right, this was in the back seat on the floor. So marijuana cigarette.
Marijuana laws have relaxed in much of the country, but in New York, there were still 18,000 arrests made last year. Those arrests are rarely contested.
What?
You can do it from the sidewalk. Step back.
Yo, you were just playing something in my car?
Bro.
But videos provided to the Times by public defenders in this case raise troubling questions about how far officers are willing to go to make an arrest. The NYPD told us the officers in this case did not act improperly. Here's what happened.
Give me your license.
Officers Elmer Pistron and Kyle Erickson stop a BMW in Staten Island in February of 2018. They
Don't be talking
say the
about
car
my
windows were
animals. Fuck at me.
excessively tinted, and the driver turned without signaling.
There we go.
Inside are 4 young black men.
I appreciate being left. No, I smell it.
And look at all the officers. Like they're ready to go for war.
As backup arrives, they search the occupants.
Is this a war or is this a search? And where's the search?
No, I don't have nothing on me.
Officer Pistron recognizes some
There
of
it
the
is.
passengers
There's
and tells his
the
partner that they are members of
stereotype.
a violent gang from the area. The driver, Lasu Kayute, pleaded guilty to an assault in 2016. Erickson searches the passenger side and looks into the rear of the car. Note the rear floor area. This becomes important soon. Erickson moves
Did you
to
hear
the
that?
driver's
He
seat
said, "I gotta
and
find
says
something."
he needs to find something incriminating.
We gotta find it.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
Just as Erickson says this, his body camera goes off. He later said it had a technical issue. But Pistron's body cam continues rolling. He's searching the rear. Note the floor area again. Later, Erickson would say in court that he found a lit joint in plain view here.
Backseat looks pretty clear.
But Pistron, who's leaning right over the area, doesn't see anything. A minute later, Erickson enters the rear of the car.
All right.
He searches the back seat. Remember, his camera is still off. But Pistron's camera catches Erickson.
He just put the drugs
He
right
appears
there.
to
I
be
just saw
fiddling
him.
with something in the back seat, but at no point suggests that he has found anything.
That's him putting the drugs
The
right
officers chat in the front. They've been searching the car for 3.5 minutes.
Nothing clean.
The owner of the car, who has a cell phone out, films Erickson holding small plastic bags.
Yo, you were just playing something in my car?
Step back.
Excuse me. Wait, hold on.
Step back.
Yo, he put something in my car.
No problem,
yo.
CS.
He put something in my car.
We don't know where the bags come from or what Erickson is doing with them. The driver is handcuffed and his phone is taken from him.
Also, he didn't read him his rights.
Pistron tells another officer that no contraband was found.
Nah, we didn't find it, but he's bugging out, so I guess now it's gonna be OGA. He's not letting us do our job, you know?
Playing weed.
At the same time, Erickson is inside the car. His body
4
cam
minutes,
turns
body
back
camera
on.
off.
It has been off for over 4 minutes. The first 30 seconds of video have no sound. That's because police body cams keep rolling and save a segment of video that's filmed just before they're switched back on. The audio begins here, signifying the moment the camera was activated.
Yeah.
Let's
Run it
rewind.
back.
It's activated
Pull it
just
back.
as Erickson discovers evidence. He reaches toward the floor behind the driver's seat. He comes up holding a joint
Yeah.
and claims it's lit. He believes this allows him to arrest
Yeah, he
all
just
of
put-
the car's occupants.
What do you mean?
Police officers are under pressure to make arrests, and many would naturally think that 4 arrests are better than 1. But Pistron shoots down the idea.
Stand back, please. Thank you. Alright, this was in the back seat on the
You a
floor.
lie.
So marijuana
And this is why we reject the narrative
Just had to put it out.
Dallas Police Department too.
Yeah. I found this cigarette blunt, okay? It was lit when I
Ain't
found
man
it on
lying
the floor.
on the affidavit.
That's why he's bugging out.
Take
Guy
it home.
is about
Huh?
to take.
I'm gonna take him home.
You expect for us to leave, you got integrity now? No, we rejected
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah. So he's on that.
Yeah, but anything, narcotics in the car, burn it. All of them gone.
No, not weed.
Sure.
Yeah.
Alright, listen, we found it, okay?
Okay.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay.
As he's taken to a police station, the driver, now in handcuffs, talks to Pistron.
Yo, Yo, son, y'all just put weed in my car, son.
He did.
Bro, we did not do that. Why would we do? He has a
Man
camera.
just
I have
put weed
a
in my
camera.
car.
He turned
He has
his
a
off
camera.
for
I have a
minute.
camera. Why would we do that?
We saw it
Like I said, the minute we stopped you, everything's being recorded.
by the other one.
So for him to do that, that'd be the dumbest thing ever. He'd lose his
They
job
don't
over
care.
a
Y'all
dumb
use the
arrest
cover
like
for each
this.
other.
The driver was charged with possession of marijuana
2
and
weeks.
spent 2 weeks in jail. During the court hearing, Officer Erickson testified that the joint was lit and in plain view when he found it on the floor. But remember, Pestron declared the area clean. That footage was entered into evidence, and during Erickson's testimony, the judge intervened. The police department was advised that Erickson should get a lawyer, and in the end, the marijuana case was dismissed and sealed. The NYPD told us that internal investigators examined these videos and found no police misconduct. Officer Pestron did not return our calls, and Officer Erickson declined to comment.
And I will say it again. We are rejecting this narrative that Joshua Brown got murdered because of a drug deal gone bad. We have just I said earlier, can I paint a picture? Can I make the case tonight? And trust and believe, I have, how many articles? How many of these? Listen, 1, 2, wait a minute, no, 1, 2, 3. I probably did about 4 of this to myself, all different cases for all different people. Showing police officer planting drugs in black teenagers' cars. So, on Black Brothers, we are rejecting the narrative again tonight. I'm gonna play the police back for you. But I'm going to need to see some tampered with evidence, video footage. We know how police and things like to tamper with video footage. Police in establishments who are going to be under scrutiny like to come out and muddy the waters. We see that in Kanika Jenkins' case. There's video footage missing. To a non-trained person, they may think all of the video footage was there in its native format. I know better. One of my first videos pertaining to that was me using a certified forensic tool to get underneath the hood, as I call it, and start pulling all the layers off to see who did what. And in that, Julie Carnes, who was hired, she works for Target Forensic, or worked for Target Forensic, also shows up in the J4K police reports, okay? When I did my metadata extraction, the changes, the Photoshop use, the expired use of Photoshop, the file format changes, what was done layer by layer, was her. It was her. She showed up. Her name showed up in the metadata extraction, down to the electronic device she was using, down to the time she used the electronic device, down to the type of electronic device it is. That's what forensics is. So when I say I want to see video footage in its native language, a Kodak, that's exactly what I mean. When I say I don't want edited data, that's what I mean. When I say show me documentation for the hard drive, the original hard drive that captured the data being write blocked, That's exactly what I mean when I say I want to see the data authenticated, because when you write block the data, you can't write to it. That means you can't alter it. That's exactly what I mean. It's too many cases like this. We just saw the police. He turned his camera off for 4 minutes. So that 4 minutes where he was planting weed in the brother's car, in the black man's car, while the other officer camera was still rolling. In the police department, oh, they didn't do nothing wrong. Then you're gonna take the document and seal it? Really? Wow. This is why we reject the narratives from the Dallas Police Department. But let me go to this video right here. Yeah. For the people who was thinking I was gonna be all demure and a little bit laid back tonight. No. Now I'm getting into this. Yeah, it's gonna go there. The lion is gonna come out. We are rejecting the narratives. Okay, and this is why. We're not young, dumb, chewing bubble gum, and we were not born yesterday, last night. That means do not ever attempt to insult our intelligence with that foolishness you running. We know better. It's not a conspiracy. History has proven that police officers will tamper with evidence, will set African-American people up, especially black boys, and will get their behinds up on there and lie. It has been historically proven that officers, not every police officer have integrity. Not every police officer work or deal with ethics. As a matter of fact, they can be quite unethical. They can be racist. They can be biased. They tamper with evidence, and that they will lie. In Amber Guyer's trial, I'll say it again, they started off lying. They started off lying. From the beginning, they came in lying. Beginning, they came in tampering with evidence. And you want us to believe this narrative. This is why the Dallas Police Department need not have their hands investigating Joshua Brown's murder, period. 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 Independent investigation. We still want that. I'm gonna play back what let me go here. Much later. Let's play back what the police chief came out there and said yesterday. And after that, I'm going to show the alleged suspects that have been detained. And we're gonna go into a moment of silence for Joshua Brown. And then we just gonna tear this foolishness that was said to shreds. Okay. All right. Let me stroll up. All right, I'm gonna play it back for you to hear for yourselves. Let's play this back. Okay. Listen to what the news anchors are saying. Listen to the way the narrative is being painted. That's why I say we reject the narrative. We'll tell our own narrative. Why am I not hearing him here? This person was having a problem with their sound. Let me go to this one. Before I share, I want to make sure I can hear it in the background. That person didn't have sound. Is it just me? Oh, that one. I don't know why my headphone don't like to play this. Did I cross something? Okay. Let me stop this. Let me know if you all can hear it. I'm gonna step out for a minute and then I'll come back in, but I will have the video up and playing. But before I step out for a minute, I want to start the video. Let me know if you can hear the volume. If you can hear the volume, just put Y for yes, so I will know you are good on your end. All right.
All right, you guys ready?
Can you hear the volume?
All right.
Hey, Precious.
My name is Avery Moore. I'm the Assistant
How are
Chief
you?
to the Dallas Police Department.
Precious Love.
I'm over the criminal
Sorry.
investigation
Precious Love,
unit.
Precious Moments.
So first, let me thank you for coming out on such short notice.
Can you all hear the volume?
City of Dallas appreciates it, as well as the Dallas
Yeah,
Police
okay.
Department.
All right, now let me
As you
stop
know,
it and
Josh-
pull it back. I'll pull it back to the beginning. I'll step out for a moment and I will come right back. But I'm gonna let this play.
All right, you guys ready? All right. My name is Avery Moore. I'm the Assistant Chief to the Dallas Police Department. I'm over the criminal investigation unit. So first, let me thank you for coming out on such short notice. I appreciate it. City of Dallas appreciates it, as well as the Dallas Police Department. As you know, Joshua Brown was shot and killed October the 4th of 2019. He was shot and killed at 4606 Cedar Springs in Dallas, Texas, which is why we gathered here today. First, I would like to acknowledge Joshua's family. We in the Dallas Police Department grieve with you. We understand how hard it is and how much pain is related to losing a loved one. No family member should have to suffer that kind of pain. I want you to know that the Dallas Police Department is working diligently on your behalf to solve this case. It's our policy that we pursue all murder suspects. We pursue them aggressively, we pursue them thoroughly with the hope of bringing closure to the family. As you know, I've said it before, that we value human life. We understand that there's some in the community that do not, but the Dallas Police Department does value human life. Through the dedicated work of my detectives, we have identified 3 suspects in the Joshua Brown murder. Kerensz Mitchell, black male, 20 years of age. Michael Mitchell, black male, 32 years of age. Thaddeus Green, black male, 22 years of age. According to suspect Kerensz Mitchell, all 3 suspects came from Alexandria, Louisiana, to purchase drugs from Joshua Brown. Thaddeus Green was the facilitator. He's the one that contacted Joshua Brown. As they drove to the offense location, Thaddeus Green gets out of the vehicle, has a conversation with Joshua Brown, which escalates into physical altercations, at which time Kerensz Mitchell gets out of the vehicle and he states that Joshua Brown orders him back into the vehicle and shoots him in the chest. As he's laying in the vehicle, he hears 2 more gunshots. He says that Thaddeus Green shot Joshua Brown 2 times. According to the autopsy report, Joshua Brown was shot 2 times in his lower body. One was a through and through, and the other entered his body just below the spine, traveled upward, damaging vital organs. Thaddeus Green also took the backpack that Joshua Brown had, as well as the gun that Joshua Brown had. Michael Mitchell was the driver. He dropped Thaddeus Green off at an unknown location, and he took Kerensz Mitchell to Promise Hospital to receive treatment. He was later transported to Parkland Hospital, where he is currently in police custody. We will execute a warrant for capital murder on him today. We also received numerous tips as it related to the killing of Mr. Brown, and in that, we executed a search warrant at Mr. Brown's apartment where we confiscated 12 pounds of marijuana, 143 grams of THC cartridges, and $4,000 in cash. We have also issued capital murder warrants for the other two suspects, Michael Mitchell and Thaddeus Green. I want to assure the citizens of Dallas that we will continue to be transparent and we will provide updates as they materialize concerning this case. We as the police department need your help in capturing the two fugitives that are not in custody. We've partnered with our federal partners and we're in pursuit of them as I speak. If you know the whereabouts of these two suspects, please contact your local police department or the Dallas Police Department at 214-373-8477 or 214-671-3690. These suspects are to be considered dangerous because they're armed. Again, I want to thank you for coming out under such short notice. I thank you for trusting us to provide you with true and accurate information. I thank you, our community members, for partnering with us and believing in us as we pursue these fugitives. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank my detectives. I've said it before and I'll say it again. They are the most talented, dedicated, committed detectives in the country. They are currently still in Louisiana pursuing the suspects. As you know, there's been speculation and rumors that have been shared.
Okay, so my browsing protection just kicked right on in there. Let me stop it and go back. I'm gonna pull it back a little bit. Just came right on up and took over the whole screen. Let me pull it back some. Let me switch this. Right up.
As you know, there's been speculation and rumors that have been shared by community leaders claiming that Mr. Brown's death was related to the Amber Geiger trial and somehow the Dallas Police Department was responsible. I assure you that is simply not true. And I encourage those leaders to be mindful of their actions moving forward.
I gotta pause him right there. I know y'all probably heard this. I stop him every time he go right there because you don't need to caution anyone to do anything because your officers came out of the gate from the Dallas Police Department lying about the Amber Geiger and bought them information the day that incident occurred. They came out the gate lying and tampering with evidence. So why would anyone believe you all to be credible? This is why we want an independent investigation. Okay.
Because their words have jeopardized the integrity of the city of Dallas as well as the Dallas Police Department. Thank you very much. Whose name? Kerensz? Yeah, let me get it right for you. JACQUERIOUS.
And there were warrants on all these, so we could report that?
I'm sorry?
There are arrest warrants for all three?
Correct. JACQUERIOUS. They're related. I don't know their relationship.
You have age on something? I mean, he's not a father or anything like that. Same age.
Age on who?
Jaquarius
Yeah, the age again, Kerensz Mitchell is 20 years old. Michael Mitchell is 32 years old. Thaddeus Green is 22 years of age. I'm sorry?
Joshua Brown's gun?
As I said, Thaddeus took the gun with him. Since he's not in custody, neither is the gun. Thank you.
Okay. Now, Precious, I'm gonna get to this before I go to the other video. I want to get to what you said here. Let me stop this other stuff that's gonna start playing in the background. I don't even know. Oh, America's War on Drugs, the CIA project, when they ran those drugs and was testing Black people and other Americans with drugs. Okay, yeah. Right, Fly, just protecting their own, and that's why we're rejecting the narrative. Precious Moments, you said if Josh sold the product, wouldn't Gene have possibly known if he were a user? Josh would never smell anything. He just heard singing right across the hall. The police started off the case with a product of accusation. The police started off the case knowing that they was going to lie and protect their own. Precious Moments. And from my perspective, they knew that at any cost they would protect their blue suit. They knew at any cost that it was going to be solidarity forever with them. They know the camaraderie they have amongst each other. They know the commonality there is the blue suit. Okay. The commonality there is the police department. All right, let me go. Let me do a share real quick. Okay, if we were to, oh, and this looks so different with my big headphones off. If we were to do a common denominator, okay, if we were to go in and do the common denominator, all right, let me move this over. At the bottom of the denominator would be, okay, so we have bottom. The bottom oh, will they let me? Oh, they won't let me do that. Interesting. Wait a minute. Okay, bottom. They want what? Okay, they want me to redo this. I don't know why they won't let me go back on this and just go over it. Okay. So, bottom. The bottom, we have Dallas. What? Wait a minute. I hear some kids talking outside my door talking about the police just arrested somebody over here. Hold on. Hold up. Hold up. We usually don't have teenagers getting arrested on my street. Hold on for a minute, you all. Hold up.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm back because, like I said, I'm not with teenagers. A group of teenagers. I guess they coming from a game or whatever. Police. I heard the teenagers say the police got one of them, but somebody parent or adults just started pulling up. So, um, excuse me, it's in a family discussion about that. Let's say there ain't no teenage. No cops getting ready to. Not over here. We usually don't have that over here in the area like that. So, um, but at the bottom of the equation is the Dallas Police Department. Okay. We have over here, move over, Joshua. And at the bottom, again, I'm going to put Dallas Police Department. So, let me extend this out. Because once again, we have suspects or alleged suspects at the bottom. We have Dallas Police Department. So we have, let me center this a little bit more. So we have three different individuals at the top. Move that over some more. And the common denominator with all of these individuals is the Dallas Police Department. They are the common denominator in this entire equation. if I could paint the story tonight. Yeah, SC trying to make him look bad. Right. They're reading social media saying y'all killed him because social media is not buying a narrative, especially African Americans. That's right. Take a seat. That's right. He can take a seat. He came out there. If we can, we looked at the common denominator, which was Dallas Police Department. Now he came out there and said, no, before I even discuss what he came out there and said, let me go to the let me go to the suspects, the alleged suspects. And sorry for clicking this so loud. And show oh, hold on for a minute. Now the phone is ringing. Let me see what's going on. Somebody else got it. All right. These are the alleged suspects. What? Oh, her running. They was all running by. These are the alleged suspects that are wanted for the death of Joshua Brown.
Russ and Karen, authorities have arrested 2 of the 3 men Dallas police believe is responsible for shooting and killing Joshua Brown, although one of them is still at large. It's been 5 days since Joshua Brown was murdered, and Dallas police believe they know who pulled the trigger.
We have identified 3 suspects in the Joshua Brown murder.
3 men who drove to Dallas from Alexandria, Louisiana, police say, to buy drugs from Brown. That deal went awry. Shots were fired first by Brown, according to police, then the bullets that killed him before his killers sped off. 2 of them have been captured so far. 30-year-old Michael Mitchell was found back in Louisiana, and 20-year-old Jacarius Mitchell, allegedly wounded by shots Brown fired, was found at Parkland Hospital in Dallas. And a third still on the run, 22-year-old Thaddeus Green. None of the men having any connection to the Amber Geiger trial.
And I'll stop it right there because I'm not getting ready to listen to them spin this story. I'm just not. So, according to the common denominator in all of these cases, a drug deal gone bad. He shot them first, but they weren't there to see that. There's no evidence to substantiate that claim. None. We don't have any guns because, according to them, they took a gun. Thaddeus Green took the gun. We've heard nothing from the alleged suspects. All of this is per the non-integral, egregious, one of the most egregious departments. This is from them. The I like to tamper with evidence department. That I would tamper with evidence at any cost department. That I will sit up and lie, as they did in Ann MacGyver, coming them right off the back. They lied on paper. When they were back there taking their statements, they sit up and lied for her. This is them. And so we're rejecting the narrative tonight. We're not believing it. Now let's get to this foolishness right here. Let's go over this foolishness that they said. Okay. The 3 suspects, alleged suspects, came from Louisiana to purchase, according to the police. We've not heard the suspects say a word, according to the police, to purchase drugs from Joshua. Who had been on national news for this case. Okay. So I find it a bit funny that men would come to purchase anything from someone with national attention like that, knowing there's a probability that he will be watched. I find that really interesting. So I got that in the shaky category, without a kickstand. It's like propping a bike up with something, but it don't have a kickstand, and if the kickstand is not there, it's gonna fall down. That's in the shaky non-kickstand category. This is according to a police department with liars in it. This is according to a police department with police officers with no integrity who likes to tamper with evidence and contaminate scenes. This is according to a police department that like to protect their own and have a solidarity and a camaraderie with each other. Okay. This is what they're saying the suspect said. I didn't hear a suspect say any of this. Okay. And the suspect that they said this, Monica Mo Justice made a good point yesterday, was under the influence of some type of drugs. Not only was he probably under the influence of some type of drugs, it goes back to his rights. His right to have an attorney present and his right to remain silent, his Fifth Amendment right. But I'm gonna go a little further. How did they even tie him to Joshua? That's what I want to know. How did they even tie the two together? Some people would say because Joshua was shot and then somebody else was shot too. But at that time, we had no knowledge. When the police broke the story and the news came on, they had no suspect at all. They had nothing. They had no information. So how did they, I still would like a more clear picture of how they tied it back together. I really would, because they had no knowledge. him being shot could have been a totally different incident, which had nothing to do with this one, because all they had was a car. At the hospital, there is no car. We don't have a car. We don't have the guns. No backpack. According to the police account, based on what the neighbors said, that led them to go acquire a search warrant. And, which I don't 100% buy that either, but while they acquired the search warrant, they found 12 pounds of weed. And so what with that? That's not any indication that he was a dope dealer. 12 pounds of weed. That, I'll say it again. Maybe some people did not encounter people from back in the 80s and the 90s and back in the day who was selling drugs for real. A little 12 pounds of weed, that's not an indication of a big drug dealer to me. Okay. I'm sorry. Let's ask somebody who loved to smoke weed. Snoop Dogg, he probably, no disrespect to him, but he probably could smoke that up in a few days. All right. Just saying. But it led the police and they got $4,000. So what with that? Like I said, when my grandmother passed, she had $3,000 in one of her sleeve coats, in the sleeve of one of her coats. So let me break this down a little more. In the sleeve of one of her coats. So that's also no indication of a dope dealer to me either. And then you got to her other purses and, you know, you found all these hundreds. Okay. And in every purse under the bed, she had money. She had money everywhere. So $4,000, they like, that's big money. It wasn't like it was a couple of million, you know. So what with that? You can sit on social media and have a social media channel and bring in a couple of thousand, a couple of hundred. So what with that? We have no evidence. We have absolutely no evidence. But let me go back to what we just saw. The sheriff's story. Okay, they all came from Louisiana. They came to purchase drugs. Like I said, we have no knowledge of that. There's no proof. All right, there's no proof at this point. Okay, no gun, no guns, plural. No backpack. And they allege they came out of his house or his apartment complex with these things. Where's the forensics that would have his fingerprints on any of this? I want that. Okay. An independent investigation needs to be done. Period. There's no proofs yet. There's no evidence yet. All we have is the police word. And if I had to be the one who was in the court of law trying this case, I would pose the question that I heard so many attorneys pose. Raise your hand if you believe the police tell the truth all the time. Okay? And I would have those people raise their hands. Raise your hand if you believe the police will lie. Raise your hand if you believe the police don't tell the truth all the time. I would have to start there because all you have at this point is the police word at the Dallas Police Department. We didn't hear the suspect say anything. We weren't there. And if he said something, was it recorded? So we can hear verbatim what was said? We rejecting the narratives tonight. Thanks for raising another hand, precious love. We rejecting false narratives tonight. Okay, came from Louisiana. 3 suspects came. They came to purchase the drug. Okay, Thaddeus Green was the point of contact. We have no knowledge that Thaddeus Green was the point of contact, other than what the police said that Jaquarius said, that we never heard Jaquarius say, nor do we have any evidence that he said it, because there's no tape or anything or written statement from him in his handwriting verifying that he said any of this. Okay. This is according to a police department that likes to lie, tamper with evidence, contaminate scenes, and everything else. Okay, so point number 4, they drove to a location. Let the police tell it, they drove to a location. And I have to pause here because what time did the quote unquote suspects arrive in Texas? How long were the quote unquote suspects in Texas? What time did the quote unquote suspects arrive at Joshua Brown's apartment complex? Where's the person to give us that information? So I want to know arrival and departure time. That is the point of contact, allegedly, according to Jaquarius Mitchell, allegedly, according per the police officer word, because we don't know. We don't know. And I don't believe them. And I have good reason not to. They set up and lied about this Amber Guyers case coming in straight out the door. They've lied about other cases and in other instances. And we are rejecting the narrative. We'll run with our own, not a conspiracy theory. We just want to go wherever the facts lead us and the evidence lead us, and right now we have none. Okay? We don't have any. All right? We have none. All right? Okay. According to Jaquarius' word, for what the police said, allegedly there was an altercations. There were altercations. Did you get that plural? When he was speaking, when the chief was speaking, there were altercations, allegedly. And I'm gonna say allegedly because none of this has been proven. Allegedly, there were physical altercations, plural. He didn't say an altercation. He said altercations, allegedly. All right. Who were these altercations between? Clarity is needed there. Right, SC, it makes no sense. So, allegedly, per the police, per Jaquarius, who we did not hear say anything verbatim and have no written statement from, He got out of the car and Joshua told him, ordered him back into the vehicle. Now, I'm not attempting to be funny. And I'm not even going to attempt to stereotype Jaquarius. Okay, Jaquarius Mitchell. However, I don't believe that Jaquarius would say, Joshua ordered me to get back into a vehicle. I don't believe he would use that type of terminology. He is what, 20-year-old. Yeah, he's the one that's 20. Thaddeus is 22, and his uncle Michael is 32. Now, that's not the lingo for this generation. That's not their language. All right. That's not their language. So we know right there, this is not a verbatim. I'll say it again. This is not a verbatim. Yeah. And he ordered him back into the vehicle and then he shot him. Okay. Ordered him back into the vehicle and shot him in the chest. We have no gun with Joshua Brown fingerprints on it. And this is another reason I do not want it in the Dallas Police Department hands, because nobody wants you to go tampering with evidence and doing stuff. So Mitchell at this point is laying in the back seat of the car, and Thaddeus shoots Joshua Brown in the lower part twice. I'm gonna pause right there. Let's go back to when Malcolm X was murdered. And everybody thought the bullets came from the African American gentleman who was sent to carry out the hit. Okay. But who was that? CIA, the government wasn't sure if he would carry out the hit, right? Because they're the one who contracted him, right? Let's make that plain. And the picture is looking as though the bullets are coming one way, but the evidence shows years later that the bullets came from top direction. So I would like to know, I would like to know which way the bullets actually came from. I would actually want the forensics from the scene to verify this. I'm just saying, okay. We don't have any guns. We don't have any bullet type or anything. All we got is what the police said. We have no written statement from Jaquarius. We have no audio of Jaquarius saying any of these things. All we have is what the police said Jaquarius said, which to me at this point equals 0. They came all the way from Louisiana to Texas. Okay. From Alexandria, Louisiana to Dallas, Texas, allegedly. Okay. So we have Jaquarius in the back shot in the chest, allegedly. And if you're laying in the back shot, I'll say it again, I don't see how you could see anything else that was going on. All right. Thaddy is taking the backpack. Thaddy is taking Joshua Brown's gun, allegedly, which is, I'll say it again, stupid. Why would you put your fingerprints on possible evidence? All right, that was stupid. If that happened, that was just stupid. Okay. But this is the most bizarre thing, and one of the most suspicious things out of this story to me. Michael nephew, I'll say it again, Michael Mitchell nephew, allegedly, Jaquarius Mitchell, is laying in the back of the car, shot in the chest. That means he's bleeding out, okay? But Michael didn't go directly to the hospital with his nephew, all right? His family member, his nephew now, who's in the back of the car, shot. Michael instead takes the time to go drop Thaddeus off at an undisclosed location. And in my mind, I'm thinking, is that undisclosed location the police location? An undisclosed location. Okay. So you're going to wait a while and then all of a sudden he going to appear, right? You're going, we caught him. The most bizarre is thing that absolutely makes no sense. Your nephew's in the back of the car, shot and bleeding. You take the time to go and drop Thaddeus off, and then you take him to the hospital. That don't make sense. That's another reason we rejected that narrative. Ordered him to get back. But he got the gun that Joshua shot him with. Who gonna sit up and get the gun unless their fingerprints is on it? And only their fingerprints is on it. Why would you even take the time to get the gun unless the person actually reached for the gun when they saw you about to shoot them, trying to get it out your hand? Come on now. No. All of this is according to the Dallas Police Department, because we have no video footage. And earlier tonight, we show how they'll cut a camera off. We don't have any audio of him going in and getting a verbatim and taping him to get a verbatim. We don't have that. We don't have a written statement. We don't have that. We don't have, I haven't known it to be made public yet. The DNA, the forensics from, I've seen nothing from that yet. It may be out there, but according to my knowledge, it hasn't been released to the public. Because in the news anchor's mind, yeah, that's white owned by males. The investigation is basically over once they get, it was basically over once they came out with suspects and started acquiring suspects and, getting their suspects, but then, no further investigation after that. It's just going to be, case going to be closed and done, right? This is why somebody else need to come in and do an independent investigation, because no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. A key witness is dead. And that would have allowed the Dallas Police Department, as well as the city, to be sued pertaining to Bantham. All right. A key witness is dead that was going to testify in the civil suit, right? We're done with the criminal suit pertaining to Amber Geyer. This is the civil suit. He's no longer here. He's no longer here. Also, if she appeals, key witness again is dead. If she's appealed and it's retried, the key witness that was there before now is dead. Right. Hey, Sue, how you doing? Right. Her filing the noise complaint, complaining about his music, turning off her body cam when we saw that earlier in the video. Another police officer from New York turned his body cam off for 4 minutes. She turned hers off. Bonnie, the other neighbor, Bantham, other ex-neighbor, captured that. Her pacing back and forth, body cam not on when she's supposed to be in there administering CPR to Bantham, right? Okay. Okay. Let's finish with their story, though. Once again, the most bizarre part is your uncle didn't take you directly to the hospital and you shot and you back there bleeding, okay? Your uncle takes Thaddeus to an undisclosed, quote unquote, location, allegedly, according to the police department. And then he takes Jaquarius, who's telling the story, allegedly, to Promise Hospital, who's later transported to Parkland Hospital. Okay, so let me go here. When Jaquarius came in shot, again, how did that lead him back to Joshua? Did the police show up and just start questioning him? Did the hospital reveal his private information, which is against the law? Somebody help me to know how still that led him back to them. And saying 2 people got shot the same night means absolutely nothing to me, because you can have 1,000 people shot in one night around the same time. Would you link them all together? What would be the correlation between them both? Is there video footage that happened to capture the car outside the hospital? Because they never said that. And again, to the Dallas Police Department, how did this linkage come together? How is this story even coming together? High profile case, national, even global. Star suspect, excuse me, star witness, Joshua Brown, for Bantham's case, ends up dead. First night, nothing. All of a sudden, 3. 1, 2, 3. Who came to buy weed, allegedly. You drove all these hours to get some weed. You didn't go to the other states. You came to a state where it's not legal to even smoke the weed and purchase the weed to get it, when you could have easily went a few hours to another state where it's legal to get it. Okay. Okay. Yes, yes, Soup Bone. Even and somebody else said he hollered out like, you know what? Yeah, Precious Moments of Flowers started with the noise complaint, then it spiraled to 2 African American men dead. Common denominator in all of this, I showed it earlier, is the Dallas Police Department. Amber, Dallas Police Department. Joshua end up dead. Do a testimony, end up dead. Who's there? Dallas Police Department. Who run against the suspect? Dallas Police Department. Common denominator in all of this. If we look at the commonality in all of this, they would be the constant, the consistent. So that's some things that I pulled out of this story that the police chief told. I just had to say, okay, this is what you're saying, but I don't have an arrival time. I don't have the days that they were in this alleged city. I don't have any information pertaining to Joseph Brown's day, other than him speaking with his friend saying that he was just going to be home and then go out later. Okay, that cell phone call per his attorney. But we don't have anything else other than what the police has produced. Allegedly that came from his apartment. We have yet to see that. Forensics, I will wait for forensics before I believe anything from them. Forensics, I'm gonna have to see the fingerprints on there, and it better be his. Even with the gunshot, I do not believe the story. I don't believe that, period. And I'll say it again, it was quite tacky for him to come out there and say leaders should not have been coming up and saying what they said against the Dallas Police Department. You've been proven not to have integrity there. Your police officers have been proven to tamper with evidence and lie. Got some liars there. Some liars who would tamper with evidence. Okay? And contaminate scenes on purpose. So, you don't run your butt out there and say, we didn't do it. That was tacky, especially after you had a police officer shoot and murder an innocent man in his own apartment. That was rather tacky. All of this leads back to Amber Geyer. Her going to trial, her sitting her butt up there crying. Everybody just talked about how such a credible witness Joshua was, trying to discredit now a dead witness, attacking his character now. He's not here to say anything for himself. An assassination of his character now, that he's dead. He's out of, it's like he's out of the way. He's dead. Let's get rid of him and then assassinate his character. Turn him into a dope dealer. Okay? And for people, I'll say it again, who was showing that video of him selling, or allegedly what they thought was him selling drugs, but they can't say because they weren't there. That was in California. All right? That wasn't in Texas. We know California pushed the marijuana legalization of marijuana through. We know they passed that. We know that state passed it. So for people to just be up here showing videos they want to show to fit their narrative, don't do that. That's tacky too. That's tacky. That's super tacky. No. Right. He had security. He had cameras set up. He had a camera set up on his own flower too. Thank you for bringing that point up. Where is the video footage from the security cameras? But where's the video footage that should be coming from his camera? Because in one video, I saw him with a camera set up for inside his apartment. Excuse me. Uh-oh, I'm gonna charge this before it runs out. Excuse me, I have to charge this device before it runs out. Pay attention to this. All right, sorry, I had to charge. Right. Something else I want to bring up before we do our moment of silence for Joshua Brown, per the request of his family today, that everybody do a visual or hold some type of visual in his remembrance. It's the fact that they said after this incident with Betham being murdered by the police officer, that Joseph moved to California. And he was told, probably after a subpoena, once he was subpoenaed or whatever, that if he did not show up, and I don't know what side told, I don't know who told him this, if he didn't show up, he would be jailed. And it was probably after he had given a deposition under oath that he would go to jail. So he did move, because before I was saying I wish he would have just moved. And then other people are saying, well, he did move. He moved to California. Then they started saying, you're going to do this jail time if you won't come back and get on the stand. So he came back to Texas. And when I heard that, I said, wow. Wow. Nobody can force you to testify. Nobody. You don't have to. You don't have to be a witness for anyone. Let me pull something up to go into pictures of Joshua for a moment of silence. Joshua. And this young man, 28 years old, keep in mind he has a small kid. I know he got a little girl. Somebody said he had 3 kids, but I'm not sure of that. I just know he has one small. I kept seeing him in a picture with this little baby, and then that is his. So I just want to show this, and I'm gonna pause it and I'm gonna let some of it play through. But I don't want them talking. This is with them talking after he's been dead. I don't want this part. I'm gonna just pause it right here. I'll just pause right here and share this. This is him in court testifying. Now I'm gonna do a moment of silence so we could just all do a moment of silence. Have a moment of silence for Joshua Brown. That's what I'm gonna do. This is our moment of silence. And if you can get to your flashlight on your phone, I'm gonna break this down some and just shine a light. And we'll just do a moment of silence in remembrance of Joshua Brown. Excuse me. All right. Rest in heaven. Rest in heaven. So that's what his family bring that back up. That's what his family wanted this to be a day to commemorate him. And it always seems like right before the family wants something done, then they start coming up with a bunch of suspects and a bunch of evidence and all this other stuff. Because I'm remembering Kanika Jenkins and the day of her homegoing service, then they start releasing, the police intentionally set up there and start releasing all the videos and stuff the day of her homegoing. That's when they put all that information on the website. They always doing something to take away. Thank you, Douglas. How are you? That was our moment of silence for Joshua. Flower, I don't know if it had any cameras, but most places do, so would be my assumption. But I want to get to something else tonight in our rejection of the police department's narrative. I wanted to go through and lay out why it's not a conspiracy theory for us when we say the police was involved. And you can go back earlier, you can see police departments tampering with evidence. Last year, New York planting drugs in the African-American man's car, 4 black males, they get arrested. He turned his camera off. The cop turns his camera off for 4 minutes. Also, like I said, they came into the case lying and tampering with evidence. So no one is sitting up like you guys are just a bunch of truth. You're truth bearers. You're just full of integrity. You're just gonna sit up there. You're just gonna tell the truth. No, we rejected the narrative for a reason, and we will dictate the way this narrative goes. And I, once again, thank you to everybody, social media, not on social media, to the African American community, to the other ethnic communities who just flat out reject this narrative that the police department is trying to put out there. We do not believe it. We believe the police was involved in some shape, form, or fashion. Period. End of period. Period.
we know that as each element of this continues, they're dragged through this again and again. Shaping up, and how's the investigation going?
Well, we learned a lot.
I want to.
She did something that was criminal. When I say ratification, okay, she did a lot during this trial, and we learned about.
All right, I want to get to what his attorney was saying again too. Once again, once the video is over, all links will be in the description below.
About the ratification of Amber Geiger's behavior by the Dallas Police Department. When I say ratification, okay, she did something that was criminal, that was wrong, that has been deemed murder by a jury in the state of Texas. What role did the city of Dallas play? Well, they showed up. Number one, of course, they provided her training, her equipment. They retained her as an officer. She was, in fact, now that we've gone through the trial, her defense was she was acting as a police officer at the time of the trial. So that puts the city of Dallas back on the hook. And then when you have Mike Mata, the president of the Police Officers Association, when you have her partner deleting information, then all of that behavior ratifies the behavior of Amber Geiger, and I think puts us in a much better position.
Now let me pause right there. In addition to all the other data I showed tonight, pertaining to how African American people are targeted over here by police departments from city to city, nationally, in addition to us going and seeing police officers set Black men up, what he just said, what the attorney just said.
I'm sure you're anticipating the Dallas PD saying, well, you know, hey, this is the course and scope situation. She was off the clock. What she did as Amber Geiger was not our concern. She wasn't acting as Officer Amber Geiger. I'm sure you've anticipated that. Let me ask you this. I've been involved with a few wrongful death cases. Very few of them actually see trial. What's your guess on whether this actually goes to trial?
I think the city of Dallas has been exposed enough to put a significant pressure on them to want to make this case go away in terms of the settlement. Now, Botham Jean, and speaking purely as a lawyer, Botham Jean has his damages case is probably one of the best that you're going to see from a liability perspective. He was a young man on a partnership track at one of the largest accounting firms in the country. And his earning potential, if you speak to partners at PricewaterhouseCoopers, they're going to say it was unlimited. And so it won't be easy to get to a number that will resolve this case. The city is certainly motivated.
Yeah, and obviously, from all accounts, the most innocent of victims, and it's unfortunate the way it has played out. Settlement discussions yet too early? Anything along those lines likely?
It's too early.
Okay. Well, I wish you the best. We wish the family the best. We know that as each continues.
All right, I'll stop it right there.
It's not it's a tough slog.
Keep in mind, his
steel themselves against
attorney Lee Merritt.
I think you, Mr. Merritt, will at least be there to help them to lead.
This to him, this he still wants the independent investigation as well as the family. They still want the independent investigation. Okay, on his Twitter account, I saw a bunch of people underneath there saying, the case is getting ready to be closed because they have suspects now. He was a drug dealer. Your drug dealer. That was your drug dealer. Somebody came right back underneath and said, ho, if he was a drug dealer, how come the defense did not cross-examine and tear his character up then? If he was this big-time drug dealer, $4,000 in somebody's house, so what? Especially in an African-American house, so what? Like I said, a lot of old people and some of the younger generation who listen to the old people, they don't always put their money in a bank. That's no indication that he was selling drugs. 12 grams of weed. I'm in Michigan. Like I said, so what with that too? That's no indication that you're a dope dealer. I can go off my firsthand knowledge and experience and interaction with people who did slang back in the day, in the 80s and in the 90s. That's nothing. $4,000 wasn't no money, and that sure wasn't no amount to be saying you out there being a supplier. Because I heard that two people, some of he was the supplier. What are you supplying? You only got 12 pounds? Please. Supplying what? And 148 TH oils. They can have TH oils for epilepsy. But like I said, I'm in Michigan, certain things we can do here. But that's no indication that this is a big dope dealer supplier. Excuse me. Can we talk? Can we really talk? Because the homes they used to hit back in the day, in the 80s, in the 90s, you were gonna at least take 100,000 out the house on the raid, and you wasn't getting less than 50 pounds. Okay. And that was not the supplier either. That was just the runner. Okay, just a little people out there running. That wasn't a supplier either. I mean, can we really talk? And you get these people onto these comment sections. And I had to break it down to this one European American female, and I was not trying to be funny. I said, what do you know about running drugs? Because she was like, did you see that money on the counter? I said, what you know about running drugs? What you know about flipping? Having your money flip? What you know? What you know? What do you know? I ain't talking about what somebody told me. I'm talking about being around some people or some people coming in your presence and you seeing some stuff. And then I'm like, okay, but let me get out, because I ain't trying to bring no drama to where nobody at. Okay, yeah, thank you. Thank you. $4,000, so what? Like I said, back in the day, you gave somebody $4,000, they doubled it up and that damn brought you back 8 the same night. This is no illusion of a big drug supplier. He's no big drug supplier. I have seen people try to attempt to spin this on some of these channels like he was a big kingpin. No, he ain't even nowhere near there. Nowhere near there. Believe me, like I said, back in the day, here, state of Michigan, easy. Bus was going down here, easy, $100,000 at somebody's house, easy. And that wasn't the kingpin. That was just a person out there running. Can we talk? Can we really talk? Let me break this up some more. Hey, Alan, how you doing? Oh, you know what, Flower? They can produce no drugs. There are no drugs. They don't have it. The Dallas Police Department, they don't have it. They don't have the car, the getaway car. They do not have, in their custody, they do not have the guns, the alleged guns in their custody. They do not have the alleged backpack in their custody. And they do not have the alleged drugs in their custody. Now, it's going to be interesting if this backpack comes in with a bunch of alleged drugs. That's going to be interesting. And I'm not going to believe that either, because Thaddeus is off somewhere, alleged at an undisclosed location that he got dropped off at. Before Michael Mitchell took his shot up nephew to the hospital. He decides to go drop Thaddeus off somewhere first, which makes no sense to me because he could have died in the back. They didn't know the what the repercussions from the gunshot could have been unless they shot him. Okay. Okay, Anderson, you're saying he didn't have to be a big dealer. To me, that ain't you got 12 pounds. You're not dealing. You're not dealing nothing. You no. No. Well, Douglas, I will agree. You're saying he had enough and that's enough to get people killed. But keep in mind, they didn't know how much he had. Douglas, the police went into his apartment to, per quote unquote, according to what the neighbors told them. Then they ran and got a search warrant. This is what they said. Then they went in and searched and found this, allegedly. But I've seen no video footage from their body cams that would substantiate this claim. I haven't seen anything. I've also haven't heard any neighbors saying anything. Not since the first night when the neighbors said they ran immediately once they heard the gunshots to get down to where Joshua Brown's body was found. I haven't heard the neighbors say anything. All of this is per the Dallas Police Department. And as I mentioned earlier, if you think the police department will not lie, raise your hand. If you think the police department tell the truth all the time, raise your hand. Now, if you think the police department will lie, raise your hand. If you think the police department don't tell the truth all the time, raise your hand. Douglas, I'm not even believing the statement from the individual involved because I did not hear him say anything. Okay, I'm gonna need them to play it back on the tape, verbatim. I'm gonna need to see a written statement with his handwriting. Okay, I'm going to need the alleged suspects to speak for themselves and not the police department. Okay, because what I don't need is the police coercion. Okay, and what I don't need is a setup from somebody to take a fall and you done ran and got some informants from another location. I just don't need that because I understand how informants work too. All too well. As a matter of fact, like I said, I have family members incarcerated for and friends too for running for slanging for real back in the day. And informants who should be serving at the same time they served got out because, cut a deal, started telling on everybody. Yeah. So family's still in there because they believe, you don't give up. If you go and serve your time out, you go and serve your time out. You tell nothing. Other people cut deal, went to snitching. They out. Still to be informants for the police. So, no, I'm gonna need somebody, like I said, can we really talk? No. I'm gonna need them to come with some real evidence and proofs. And I want the forensics off of every bit of evidence they bring in there, from the backpack to the guns, from the crimes, from the crime scene, from the homicide scene. I want all of it. I want to see all of it. I want to hear the suspects say verbatim. Or I want to see their penmanship uncoerced. I want to. I do not want the Dallas Police Department involved at all, period. I want it to come from an outside investigation, like the family is calling for, like the attorney is calling for, like the family is still calling for, like many of us activists and social justice sergeants are calling for. No. And I need to see if somebody's already started a petition, because I'm sure they have. And once I get it, I will drop it on here. We don't want Dallas investigating. Yeah, they will cover for each other. Flower, that I had the same question, but maybe they visit there so frequently. They took him to Promise Hospital first, and then he was transported to another hospital. You experienced it. I'm sorry you had to go through that, Douglas, but people, we as a people know they will lie. It is not like, and for people to come out and make it seem like it's just taboo and all officers are just outstanding people with so much integrity and uphold the law and they do so much for us, that's a lie. You do find some pockets of some with some integrity. And then you got a bunch of rotten to the core, molded up apples that begin to smell within these police departments. Can I continue to make my case about another reason why we know the United States have a history of planting drugs in African American communities, the crack epidemic? Nobody will forget that from the 80s. Nobody. If you were born around that time, you won't forget it. Did we forget Nicaragua with Ronald Reagan? Did we forget that? Now I'm a little older, like I said, I'm 46. Can we talk? Can we really talk? Can I continue to make my case tonight about why we're not running with this narrative? And I'm so glad, again, that we're not. Can I continue to make my case? Can I walk us back through history a little further? Can I take us back through history a little further? Is that all right?
Have just arrived at Sandoz Laboratory. Two American spies have just arrived at Sandoz Laboratories, one of the world's leading pharmaceutical factories. The mission: corner the market on the world's supply of a powerful new psychoactive drug.
The CIA was scared stiff the KGB was going to get all this LSD and come over and start dosing people. So we bought every drop of LSD in existence at that point.
The CIA has just authorized the purchase of 10 kilograms of pure LSD-25, enough to dose more than half the population of the United States.
They gave it to George White and let George start dosing people.
George Hunter White, a larger-than-life undercover federal narcotics agent. Unbeknownst to his supervisors, White also works for the CIA. His job, to conduct experiments for an operation called Midnight Climax.
George had a CIA safe house stocked with booze. George would sit behind this one-way mirror, drinking martinis, sitting on a portable toilet. If he had to take a leak, he didn't want to get up and leave.
White pays prostitutes to lure their clients to the agency's safe house.
Hookers who would bring these suckers back to the apartment and dose them with pure LSD 25.
This is where I have my effect, in the mind.
This is lysergic acid diethylamide, better known as acid. The powerful drug was first synthesized in 1938 in Switzerland. With a dose of mere micrograms, the mind becomes confused. Perception is distorted. Personal identity is called into question. The results can be euphoric bliss or deadly panic. White takes meticulous notes and files his reports to his CIA handlers.
So that was how LSD was introduced to this country.
Operation Midnight Climax is part of a larger top-secret CIA program called MKUltra. The goal, learn how to control and even reprogram people's minds. The CIA believes LSD might hold the key. Over the next 10 years, the agency doses a cross-section of the American public. Everyone from unwitting housewives to soldiers to even criminals like gangster Whitey Bulger is tested.
You know, what the CIA really dreamed of was sort of like a drug you could give to someone, get them to commit all sorts of unspeakable acts, and they wake up the next day and they don't remember what they've done.
They were looking into
brainwashing.
They were
Mind
looking
control.
into mind control. They were looking into how they could create what they
population
called Manchurian
control.
candidates. They were trying to figure out if they could get people to go out and do things that they would ordinarily not do, like assassination.
Flashback.
The case of MKUltra has to be one of the craziest cases of blowback in CIA history, because here they took this drug, LSD, and thought that they were going to be able to use it to control people's minds. And the unbelievable irony is that LSD is a drug that does exactly the opposite. It frees your mind and causes people to question authority.
Turn on, tune in, drop out.
The CIA's attempt to control people turned out to be
They did it with
just the
crack.
opposite.
They ran it back with
created
crack.
the counterculture as we know it of the 60s. It was the CIA that introduced LSD to the United States.
Flashback. Now, another reason why this is not a conspiracy theory, why we don't trust law enforcement, the Dallas Police Department. Because we know over here, law enforcement will be experimenting with people and running drugs in. Who didn't know that in America? Who didn't know crack being allowed, and especially in African American communities, came from the government over here? Who doesn't know that? And the police, they were assisted by police departments. Who don't know that? Then they want to come up with the Drug Act, the War on Drug Act, or the Drug Act. After they then push this stuff off here in America, then they want to create bills to incarcerate African Americans in large numbers. Nixon, Reagan, Bush Senior, Clinton, Bush Jr. Who don't know that? So we don't sit up and talk about, do not sit there and tell us that it's just a conspiracy theory that we believe the police department was involved when they came out lying about the Amber Geiger case from the very beginning, contaminating evidence. Don't tell us that a key witness just ended up dead and you just want us to believe that nothing ties back to anybody within the police department. That we're all just out here a bunch of conspiracists. No, it's a history. Like I said, that can be proven. CIA, FBI. This stuff is on record. Police departments setting up African-American men, women, teens, whoever. This is on record. It's on record. It's proof. Concrete proof. Tangible proof. So, like I said, can I make the case tonight? Can I just lay the information out before you? This is why we are controlling this narrative. We want an independent investigation, and when we get an independent investigation, we still gonna be looking. History has taught us to do that. This is what history has taught us. We will go where the facts lead, but we don't need the contamination of the facts. Can we talk tonight? Can we really talk? So for people to just come out, and maybe some of these millennials are young, but they can pull this information up. You can kindly take yourself to a library. You can kindly take yourself into some archives where all this information is. And you can look at America's history when it comes to drugs on its own people. And you can look at its history when it comes to drug in the inner city where the Black people were, as well as its history on using drugs on the soldiers and experimenting. Oh, the United States love to experiment on people. Syphilis, Ebola. Don't play with me. Don't Can we talk? Can we really talk? Like I said, we are rejecting the narrative. Now I'm gonna put my email in here. Let's see if anybody wants to come up tonight before we wrap this up. But I don't like when, remember, you have to have Zoom installed. Remember, if you email me because you don't want your email information out there, you can email me private and I'll make it happen. I'll send you the link. Excuse me. So remember, it's a history of things occurring over and over again in the United States of America. We have history to prove that things have constantly been perpetuated against African American people and against Americans, against African American males, Black, set up by police officers, set up with a drug scene, killed by police officers trying to cover it up and say they didn't do it. Police officers using others and cutting deals with them. Say, okay, if you go, you get plea deal, plea down, your sentence get less down, we'll look out for you. Come on, don't act like this stuff hasn't happened. So for people, for the news media, this is why we taking the narrative back, controlling our own narrative. We getting a handle on the narrative. To sit up and act like this is taboo is extremely disingenuous. It's extremely disingenuous. It's a history that has been perpetuated. Behavior that has been perpetuated. and it's extremely suspicious, key witness, testifying against officer, end up dead. Drug dealers or whoever come out of nowhere. But this is all information we got per the police, the Dallas Police Department mouth, who let John F. Kennedy get murdered and assassinated. Did they forget that? So we going out, couldn't even protect a president. Did not protect the president, a former president. That was in Dallas, he was murdered. Did they forget? We looking at everything. So, Joshua Brown, not protected. Not protected. New request for, you know, people, what did he put in right? His attorney said he was apprehensive. Should have been protected. But no. Why would the Dallas Police Department protect him? Why would they offer anything or assistance to him, and he's going to be testifying against one of their own in their union, in their police department family? Can we talk? Can we really talk? Okay. Yeah, Alan. Devil is mad at HEWL. So put some perspective on this. Like I said, I had a ton of articles and videos on the police setting up African-American men, the police setting up other people, just dropping drugs in their yard, drugs by their persons, putting guns by them. Time after time again, nationwide. Show up, Dallas Police Department, you don't have a good history or track record, period. When it comes to integrity and protecting people and not setting people up, okay? No good track record, history, bunch of information out there. And then they want to sit up and say, news media, who received the pushback too, oh, it's a conspiracy. No, it's a history. Do you want to come out and say a drug deal going bad? No, you don't get to come out and continue to run and push that narrative without any facts, without any proof, untampered with evidence, without us having seen it, because we have yet to see it, hear it, or anything else. All we have is the police word. And like I said, if you think the police tell the truth all the time, raise your hand. If you think they will lie, raise your hand. If you think they will tamper with evidence, raise your hand. If you don't think they will tamper with evidence, well, then raise your hand. And what's interesting is that's one of my options I can enable on here too, is that is to have the little hand being raised in Zoom. Right, Alan, repeating the same behavior over and over again, perpetuating the same behavior over and over again. And then you expect for everybody to just run down and take your word. Oh, we trust you, but you get those people out there. Oh, the police just, stop it. Don't be so green. Don't be so naive. Don't be bamboozled. We're not telling you to distrust everybody, but we are telling you to stay woke and conscious at all times. Be observant, be vigilant. That's what we're saying. Now, with that being said, if no one else wants to come up, I am going to wrap this up. No one has anything else to say. I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to get off here. This was, I wanted to go, like I said, yesterday was an impromptu live that I knew I would do once suspects were being mentioned, or persons of interest were being mentioned in Joshua's death. And they started producing suspects and things like that. So that was an impromptu pop-up. But today, I knew I would come live because this is the day the family wanted his memorabilia to be done, just a visual held for him. So I'm sure plans probably changed because you got all this other foolishness going on. Like I said, you always have somebody that run out there right before something happened to muddy waters, like the police did, which was extremely distasteful. When Kanika Jenkins' homegoing services being held, they began to put all of that, put all them pictures up there and images and put all that evidence up there. They could have waited till after it was over. And here we see it again. They just bringing in suspect after suspect. It just being, you know, it, to me, some of this stuff seems a bit intentional and deliberate. No, I don't trust the Dallas Police Department. I know I don't trust them. And it is a shame. Oh, Alan, you said they repeat the same lie over and over again until it becomes reality. No, they repeat the lie so people can say the lie to believe that the lie is the truth. Oh, no problem, SC. And for all other people who have encountered something with the police or experienced a tragedy like this in your family due to the hands of the police officer, my prayers are with you that you will continue to maintain your strength and remember the good times. And we will pursue the justice that we need. Now, in saying that, let's make sure we vote. Because everybody needs a raise, okay? The working class, we need a raise, all right? Also, for us African American people, let's not forget the sweat, the tears, and the blood our ancestors put into the land over here for us to be where we are today. Okay. Now, also know this before I get off real quick. Do the share. We still want reparations. Period. Yeah, summary of HR 40. 16th Congress, 2920. Okay, commission to study and develop reparation proposals for African Americans. Okay. The study is to find out how much we're really owed. Okay. As well as some other things, and develop a reparation proposal. Yeah, we'll come up with proposal and submit it so it can be passed through Congress. All right. But I'm not saying study to drag your feet. The study don't have to take all day. Study don't have to take really. It could be a case study and be done in one day. Get it on paper, get it out, and get up and cut the check. Now, that's what I have to say about that. But it need to be worded a specific way. So I need to get with people who have been working towards this legislation now that our congressperson here, the longest standing Black congressperson here, retired out, to see if they have in there a penalty for the United States of America should they ever try to rescind or not honor the entirety of the law or bill or act once it's passed, and make sure the language states that this can never be dissolved until every descendant of Africa has been paid in full. See, I want some language. I want some specific language in there. And that should anybody try anything, they will be penalized and fined, and that money will be made immediately for the descendants of African slaves over here in America. So let me throw that out there before we get off. Let me throw that out there. Now, I'm keeping everybody in your prayers. I'm watching this case. While I'm watching this case, I'm still cognizant of the fact that we do have other things going on. Remember to start preparing your stuff for the economic recession and downturn. Just start stocking up on stuff, have your things together, just to be prepared, especially those who bank with big banks. We saw what happened the last time. They say it's supposed to bottom out next year sometime. Take effect next year sometime. But just be prepared, okay? Just be prepared in that regard. I want to throw that back out there. Be prepared. Make sure you're registered to vote. Make sure you participate in the voting process. Make sure that you are also sitting down and involved in your state, your city, in terms of justice. That, like I said, we don't just become talking heads, that we put our feet to the ground and start sitting down and drafting up legislation, usually font size on that. I'll give a plus. Font size is 12. 12 font size, and the font type is Roman, Times Roman, okay? When submitting, and they may use a more recent one that came along after the fact too, but you just have to keep it safe. You just have to keep it safe. I know here in this state, we keep it safe because they will challenge you on font size. When you start creating and drafting bills, they challenge you on punctuation. They would challenge you on anything. So as if you are one of those people who want to sit down because you come up with a bill, you have something in mind, make sure you keep that in mind. Font size 12. Font type Times Roman. Times Roman. Okay, those are the safe. That's safe. Be cognizant of punctuation. Okay, and I'm talking about from experience till the point where every night, once language was approved, I'll talk about this one because it was one that's still on, is something that's still ongoing. When Rick Snyder, when we were out there canvassing to recall him, and the language was being drafted up and had to be approved, it goes back to having a claim that's valid, having language that will be approved and passed, being there on the appropriate day, following the protocols. And when it came to the petitions, what I would find myself doing, and when I did the protest training, and when I did how to collect signatures, the legal way here, and a signature being valid when you participate in the process of holding people accountable, your elected officials accountable, and recalls and things of that nature, that I had to make sure my people knew that I would find myself looking at the papers and would say, okay, when we are doing these copies of the original, make sure we are not adding things on, because I don't want petitions thrown out on technicalities because somebody put a period or it looks like a period on the paper with a petition. I was really careful. So I would be going over everything every night, like, you know, even being out there, like, you know, signature here, print here, signature here. Are you registered to vote? Signature here, print here, da 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 da. Looking at the petition, making sure it was accurate and nothing was messed up, because I knew they would get you on technicality. They can get you on technicality, and it's like you end up in court, or you end up, you know, they end up appealing all of your work that you've done, and then they bring up the fact of the font size. They bring up the punctuation. They bring up, you know, font type. They bring up the language changed, or it was a punctuation in the first one and now it's missing. So keep all of that in mind. Keep all of that in mind. I have to say that. Keep all of that in mind. Keep all of that in mind. In that protest, I'm very cognizant of my rights, my constitutional right to protest, and cognizant of the fact that the sidewalks are public and the street is public property. And certain parks are public, and certain driveways are public. So it's just being conscious once you do get out there and you are taking groups of people, and the consistent training and distribution of literature and information, so people will know their rights, and people will know what's what when they are out there to participate in the process. So having said that, remember HR 40, remember voting, remember recession, economic downturn here, remember J4K, we're not going anywhere. Remember Joshua Brown, this is what's happening now, but remember Flynn. Just remember there's a series of things going on. So it's being extremely balanced, so you don't get blindsided or sidetracked by anything that's going on here. and that we are participating in the process, and that we are about that action. Excuse me. And like I said, I'm going to look and see if anybody started a petition on behalf of Joshua Brown. And if they have, I will drop it. I will post it to get an independent investigation. I will post. I'm seeing what it, you know, I've been trying to keep up with his attorney to see what he's doing and what he's been posting on Twitter. So with that being said, I am not in real time. Wow. On my, I'm real time here, but I'm not real time on my electronic device here. All right. With that being said, I am finished. Thank you all so much for streaming in. You are I greatly appreciate it. Like I said, don't ever be scared or timid about coming up. And I know sometimes we have things going on in the background. Like today, I had some impromptu stuff going on in my background. Some teenagers, a game coming from a game nearby or whatever, and didn't know that they were running running towards my backyard, in the backyard. And my sister's like, they's in the backyard. That's why she was like, they was in the backyard. That's why I went outside. And they was running in the backyard. Then she said they broke her window, her mirror off her car, I guess running by. It was a couple of them. It was quite a few of them. Because I heard her saying, get out this yard. Get out this yard. And that's when I got up when I heard a team running by, passing by the window, like, the police just arrested so and so. And so the one young lady who was walking away was like, do you guys have a phone? Like, can I use the phone? My sister's like, I'm thinking this, you don't even live here. She was like, no, you heard what I said. Get out the yard. And one team was like, she ain't gonna do nothing. And my sister said, if you don't get out this yard, I'm gonna do something. And I started thinking, you don't even want to go. That's when I came out, was like, okay, I don't want the kid. They said one kid was arrested. I heard about a window by the cops. I do not want the cops over here arresting kids and them being unattended, they having their rights not read to. I said, and I don't want the cops over here attempting to shoot any kids, not on this street. No, you're not. Absolutely not. And when I came out there, I told the teenagers, I said, yeah, we will do something, but my sister would be a little bit quicker than me. And I was thinking they better don't say nothing else to my sister. Don't start going back forth with her. Don't even attempt to run up on her, because she going to get the heat and she will shoot. So it is what it is. But you know, that got settled. Somebody parent came up. Some parents started coming up. So like I said, I'm not for it. I'm just not with it. I'm not with no more of this police drama. I'm not for it. I'm not with it. Period. Whether it be teen, adult, kid, I'm not with it. You could be pink, polka dot, whatever. I'm not with it. As long as you are just in what you're doing, I'm not for it. So that's where I was going earlier a little while for a little bit. First I went and got these and I left, and then when I jumped up and went out there, it was pertaining to that. So, and I got a crazy psycho neighbor across the street who will make up stories and lie. They had a police come out and harass teenagers on purpose. So that's another reason I got up. Okay. Yeah. With that being said, you all have a pleasant. I just wanted to explain that so people don't just think she just jumped up and went missing. With that being said, you all have a pleasant evening and a pleasant night. Remember Joshua Brown. Remember not to let them deflect off Amber being held accountable should they appeal this, because it's about, to me, attempting to bring it back in and have her really serve out no sentence or time for murdering somebody and covering their own behinds. So with that being said, you all have a pleasant evening and a pleasant night. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.